AP tone, your team is sitting very, very pretty. Russell Wilson's winning games. And Chris Boswell, your kicker, even though every other kicker in the AFC North yesterday had a case of the shanks, Chris Boswell goes 6 for 6 to win this game. No touchdowns needed. We're just going to score 18 points off of Boswell's toe. Had some Hembo stats sent over to me here in the last few moments. Chris Boswell is the only kicker in the NFL history to hit 6 field goals in a game more than twice. He's done it 4 times. Okay, in 2016, week 15, they beat Cincinnati off of that 6 field goals. 2017, divisional round, they beat Kansas City off of him hitting 6 field goals. That seems like so long ago. 2017, beating Kansas City in the playoffs. Pittsburgh Steelers did that. 2024, week 1 against Atlanta, Boz hit 6 field goals. They beat him. If you do recall, TJ Watt ended that game 1-1. And then just yesterday, in the rivalry game for the Pittsburgh Steelers of the AFC North, fighting for supremacy, not only of the North, but of the entire AFC. Boswell goes 6 for 6. Russ almost in the fourth quarter with that pick with about 9 minutes left or whatever, gives away, but instead gets a big-time win. Where do Steelers fans sit right now, and what are your thoughts on the Baltimore Ravens after the game?
Yeah, if the offense doesn't get in the end zone, we're going to get 3 points off of Chris Boswell's toe.
That's from a song.
That is from a song. That's a Super Bowl song, and that's how I'm feeling today, Pat. 8-2 sitting atop the AFC North, 2 games up on the Baltimore Ravens. And the more things change, the more they stay the same. In this rivalry, the last 8 games, neither team has scored more than 20 points. Okay, the last 8 games. This is always a defensive affair. So what's going to come down? It's going to come down to turnovers, which the Steelers got 3 of them, to the Ravens 1. It's going to come off of special teams. Tucker misses 2 kicks. Boswell obviously just said 6 of 6. Time of possession, the Steelers had 36 minutes time of possession to the Ravens 23. Was it great on either side on offense? No, the Steelers went 4 of 17 on 3rd and 4th down, but the defense was unbelievable on every single level. Obviously, you see Patrick Queen, who we brought over from the Ravens. I
didn't know the big storyline was, I didn't know this was the case. I guess I learned this yesterday. I should have known this at the time. Baltimore did not offer Patrick Queen anything.
Nope.
They basically just offered him trash, because whenever he came to the Steelers, he said, I was supposed to be a Steeler. I thought the entire thing was he picked the Pittsburgh Steelers over the Baltimore Ravens. Then it was very clear yesterday, the way they were telling the story and the narrative, it was like, they didn't want Patrick Queen. Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin says, come on home.
Get in here.
Come on home. And he certainly showed up in a massive way for the Steelers.
And he fits in so unbelievably. He made the play. Defensive line, Herbig making plays, Cam Hayward making plays, TJ Watt making plays, Peyton Wilson, the rookie out of NC State, who doesn't have any ACLs, so he fell to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he is perfect. Obviously, making the interception there, which was unbelievable after the Russ pick. In the secondary, Joey Porter Jr. was awesome. Like, it was just an incredible defensive effort. And then you talked about it. Now, dogs are 3+ points or more in this rivalry. 19-2-3. Harbaugh is 0-11-2. Pittsburgh has won 8 of the last 9 against the Ravens. Feels good to be a Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay, and let's talk about the Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, this is a game that, Derrick Henry didn't do much early, had a fumble. TJ Watt blows him up in the third quarter. A lot of people wondering why he wasn't on the field for the 2-point conversion that inevitably would have tied it up at the end. I don't know if you can really take this game and utilize it as something to judge the rest of the season. And that's what real rivalries are. And this is an actual real rivalry. I am pumped that it showed up the way that it did. I think these 2 teams are going to go on and have great seasons. I'm excited to see who ends up where. Now, speaking of that, in the AFC, we now have no undefeated teams left.
Damn.
I saw 1972 Dolphins pouring some drinks out, doing their thing. They're the only team that is still undefeated for an entire season all the way through the Super Bowl. Now the Kansas City Chiefs have suffered their first loss to the Buffalo Bills. Now, if you do recall with the Buffalo Bills-Kansas City Chiefs rivalry that has obviously blossomed between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, during the regular season, the Bills win this game. Okay, that is, they're undefeated in the regular season. In the playoffs, though, it's the other way. Chiefs undefeated against the Bills. So a lot of people are going to say, what does that mean? What does it mean? Well, I don't think yesterday's game was indicative of the previous past and records. I think that the Kansas City Chiefs had some flaws, okay? I think all season we had seen them. They have a loss to a very good Buffalo Bills team. Hopefully that'll maybe make them fix that. But for the Buffalo Bills, this Josh Allen guy, and I talked about it after getting a chance to watch him and what a signing Amari Cooper was, going to get him at the trade deadline. So smart by Brandon Beane, who's an absolute dog, always going to make his team better. But watching Josh Allen in person, you really get to experience it. It's like an aura that comes from him. There's a moxie and a confidence that radiates from his body all the time. And with how big he is, how fast he is, and what that team has become, which is, hey, this is Josh Allen's team. We're going to build around him. We're going to trade some players out of here. We're going to have to overhaul our roster. We might not know everybody, but we'll make superstars because our quarterback is capable of doing as such. He definitely did that yesterday. And it all came down to a 4th and 2 with the Buffalo Bills being up 2 and having an opportunity to kick a field goal. Very much in Tyler Big Ball Bass's range, even though he's got to start making all his kicks too. There's a lot of missing going on. Instead, they go for it on 4th and 2, and Josh Allen does something that only Josh Allen can do. Now, there is a runner in Indianapolis, a quarterback who probably do something similar in showcase that yesterday. But watching Josh Allen lead this win yesterday, watching Josh Allen play the way that he's played, watching this Buffalo Bills team get over the proverbial hump against a team that they now know they are definitely better than. So if they run into them in the playoffs, maybe they'll be able to beat them. But what did you learn yesterday, 9-year NFL vet Darius J. Butler, about this Buffalo Bills team and Josh Allen that maybe we didn't know going into the week?
You know what? I wouldn't say I necessarily learned anything new going into the week because we knew he was a special player. You talked about the regular season success against the Chiefs over the years. Knew he was kind of right there. If Lamar faltered, he could jump right up and be at the top of that MVP ladder. And the thing about Josh, man, it doesn't matter who's been in there. Like Dalton Kincaid, he's been one of his biggest weapons. He's out. Keon Coleman, he's been coming along as a rookie. He's out. Coop gets back in the lineup. Shakur just catches everything he throws to him. So whoever he has around him, he's going to elevate that game, and that's what you always want at that quarterback position. Got a great offensive line, good run game. So they have all the pieces in the defense. The defense kept this Chiefs offense in check, which, a lot of defenses it seems have been able to do that this year, but it seems like every time, as soon as the game, it's a one-possession game.
Matters.
Okay, they need a touchdown. Boom, they drive down and score, and you thought that would happen again. But for Josh to just put the team on the back, pull out that cape, have that unbelievable touchdown. I mean, you talked about the guy we have here. That you're looking at Josh Allen. That's who you want, AR5 to become. Everything
to your point about Patrick Mahomes being able to do whatever he wants whenever he has to. We all remember the 13-second thing, but that's the reason why that was called right there.
Yep.
4th and 2 in field goal range. 2 minutes left. Go up 5.
Love it.
Okay, go up 5. Touchdown losers, but don't have to worry about a field goal with a new kicker in there anyways. But don't have to worry about a field goal. Instead, McDermott says, I've seen this before.
Yeah.
I know what this is going to be. We are going for this, and Josh Allen shows up for him. Now, let's talk about some stats that Hembo sent over. The last 5 seasons since 2020, most 2 touchdowns games. Okay, throwing 2 touchdown games. Josh Allen has 65 of them. Patrick Mahomes has 53 of them. Most 3 touchdown games. Josh Allen has 38 of them. Patrick Mahomes has 28 of them. You're talking about the 2 leaders in performing for their teams, battling here in a Week 11 showdown in Buffalo, and the Bills Mafia showed up.
Oh, yeah.
Big time.
I enjoyed that CBS kickoff show being in front of their crowd.
Great.
I enjoyed everything about the atmosphere, and I appreciate the fact that these Buffalo Bills and Brandon Beane not only trying to get better all throughout the season, but they got this. They got something about them.
Moxie.
And you saw a lot of people tweeting it like, hey, if your team sucks, I think I saw Ryan Whitney of Spittin' Chicklets, NHL legend. He said, if your team sucks and is already out of it, and the Buffalo Bills aren't the team you're cheering for, you're wrong. That is the team to get behind. They're fun. They're physical. They seemingly answer all the questions the right way after the game. Everything they say is that. And they're built to go ahead and win. Congrats to the Buffalo Bills getting a big-time win.
Oh, yeah. And they've never...
Congrats to the Pittsburgh Steelers getting a massive win. I think you were saying they've never won.
Yeah.
We don't need to rain on
I
their
mean,
delay right now.
That's a fun team to get behind if a team that's never won something you want to, versus like getting behind the Chiefs.
They win their first one.
Agreed, yeah.
Cool.
Now, granted, I do think they've been hyped as a good team for a few years, so people are still going to call you bandwagon, but who cares? You're going to have a blast. Josh Allen makes every game entertaining, more so in years past because he was just turnover heavy. This year it's different.
No.
He's
Much
a different
more
player.
Locked in.
It is fun to watch that Buffalo Bills team, and good luck to the Kansas City Chiefs bouncing back. Get the weight of the undefeated season off.
Yeah, exactly.
Weight of the undefeated season
Play
off
free.
for sure. So Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Ravens in that rivalry game. Buffalo Bills beat the Kansas City Chiefs in that rivalry game. Let's go to the oldest rivalry in the NFL. Green Bay Packers get a massive win over the Chicago Bears. Now, the Chicago Bears have a brand new offense coordinator. Thomas Brown, remember, was put in place for Shane Waldron, who was fired last week. What is that going to do? And then there was a report from Albert Breer. Well, Caleb Williams, this guy doesn't have a brain.
Yeah.
So don't know how to do a huddle, don't know how to do a center quarterback exchange, I know how to do a meeting. And it's like, I wonder where Albert's hearing all these things. Okay, there was an offense coordinator that was literally just fired a couple days before that. We're not saying that's a definite, but maybe somebody from that world told Albert, because we know Albert's tied in. So we wonder what the rest of the season was going to look like. How many changes could be made? Well, Chicago Bears looked pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams played his best game. I think they made him more on schedule. They made it much easier for him. I think they showed up for him, and they knew you beat the Packers in the way this season has gone. That's quite a morale boost for every Bears fan and Bears worker in that entire building. Swift goes crazy in this entire game. But in the end, winners win, losers lose.
Yep.
Packers up 2019 in the fourth quarter. Caleb Williams does everything he has to do to get them into field goal range. With where that ball was spotted, right there is now a 46-yard field goal. There's 30 seconds left on the clock. The big debate was they should have won for more yards.
Got to get 3 more yards.
They should have won for more yards.
Run it again.
46-yarder. If you get that to 44 yards, his percentage is much higher.
Yeah.
They were saying under 45-yard kicks how he does versus over 45-yard kicks how he does. Has a 53-yarder earlier in this day. 30 seconds left. You get well within the field goal line. You're playing the Green Bay Packers, whose defense has been very good. It's going to be hard for me as Eberflus not to be like, all right.
Yeah.
We send the field goal operation out there now.
Winning football.
Exactly. We're way within range of where he should be. Make the kick is what they're thinking.
Yep.
But what they didn't know is that the Green Bay Packers, all week with Rich Bisaccia, as special teams coordinator, he said yesterday, or the day before the game, I guess, to the team, he would be surprised if they didn't block a kick because of how low Cairo Santos' ball trajectory is. Now, let's break down this particular fundamental flaw. Okay, now there was a couple rules that were certainly bent a little bit. Not supposed to be able to blow up the center. Not supposed to be able to have people pushing each other either. Go ahead, play it a little bit. Let's go ahead, play. Yep. Play. Stop that thing. Okay, so the snapper is the one bent over right in the middle with 3 guys around him. Okay, I don't think you're supposed to be able to just blow him up, but I guess there is rules expert Schefter will maybe be able to tell us more from that entire thing. But this is a technique that is also practiced. Drive, 3 steps, arms up, okay? Because if you look at the physics, or is it geometry maybe? Maybe it's geometry. Flight trajectory, where it's supposed to be. If you're able to get to it and you are in line with where the field goal is, you're obviously going to hit the ball. Green Bay Packers, attention to detail, beautiful. The physicality they're showcasing at the point of attack, which is right over the center, which once again, I don't know if that's legal or not. But I have no idea. They executed perfectly. They get a hand on the rock. That's a block kick. The Green Bay Packers win on a walk-off blocked field goal. Has to be the first time in NFL history where back-to-back weeks a game is won on walk-off blocked field goals. But it's the attention to detail. It's winners win, losers lose. And you talk about Hail Mary to the Chicago Bears a couple weeks ago. Now you got a blocked kick up the gut to lose for the Chicago Bears. They have to assume that the football gods are just working against them at this point. But maybe on the flip side, the football gods are working for the Green Bay Packers. Let's go to an owner of the Green Bay Packers, one half of the toxic table, at Ty Schmidt. Big win over a rivalry pub.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Big win over a rivalry pub.
Yeah, it was huge. And I mean, I did on Friday, like I felt, 5.5 with everything that's being said about the Bears. It was like, all right, it is still a rivalry game. Granted, the Packers had won 10 in a row, 11 in a row now. But then before kickoff, I started getting even more nervous because, they had the shot of Brady on the field with Caleb Williams talking to him a bunch of times. And then the quote came out that said, Caleb Williams in the team meeting kind of addressed everybody and, like, apologized for basically being the reason that, Waldron got fired. So it's like taking some accountability. It kind of just added up to like, oh, here we go. The Bears are going to play their best game of the season. And then the opening drive, the Packers went right down the field and scored, and it was like, okay, they're going to beat the shit out of them like they should do. But for whatever reason, offense just didn't look great. Jordan Love, another red zone interception, which obviously you'd like to see those get cleaned up. But like you said, I mean, ultimately, like, they did not play well. They probably shouldn't have won the game, but good teams find a way to win when they're not playing well. And this was massive for the Packers because they're 2 games up now in terms of, like, the playoffs. And they also jumped Washington, so they're the 6th seed right now. If they like their percentages to make the playoffs, winning this game as opposed to losing it, skyrocketed. So it was huge. And yesterday actually was the first day in a while where Jordan Love looked healthy. It's like, okay, the quad, or not the quad, the ankle isn't an issue anymore. The groin isn't the issue anymore. So I think, same deal. Like years past, Packers don't block that field goal. They just don't. The Bears make that, they lose, and then you're on Monday. It's like, okay, what the hell happened? We did it again. But that's why it does feel like this team might be a little bit different.
Now, to your point, the Bears are in the position that a lot of teams have been in where they lose the heartbreakers. Okay, the Bears are now 5-17 in one-score games under Matt Eberflus since 2022.
Gee,
that's the worst record in the NFL over that span. And we'll talk about the primetime game last night, where it feels like the Chargers might have exercised some demons in the middle of the game, and also over the last couple of years about losing those ones you're supposed to win. But if we go back to that field goal block, we have a side view here. Not only did they go right over top of the center, they also pushed. I mean, it's just. It was a great play. It was an absolutely great play by Rich Bisaccia. And and we get a push. Look at that. Can we put this here? Yeah. So this guy is the reason why this gets blocked.
That's a big no-no. Huh?
So they have 1, 2, 3. Go ahead. Here we go. So it's a 1, 2, 3 up rule. That is basically the rule. 1, 2, 3 up. 1, 2, 3 up. Go ahead, play. Go ahead, keep going. Pause. So he's there, okay? Look where that is right now. Watch what old buddy here does. Ball is here, okay? 1, 2, 3 up. He's doing everything perfectly. This guy's about to get his arm up too. Go ahead and play that thing now. He moves the whole pile, pushes him into him, up into the back of it. It's like, if I'm a Bears fan, I'm certainly wondering about some things. And once again, I don't know if they eliminated the push just from a pre-snap alignment, because guys used to go, there used to be 2 dudes on each of the shoulders of long snappers, and then there would be a guy standing behind each of those dudes. So 6 dudes over the long snapper shoulders, and the guy in the back would just be hands on cheeks, pushing ass. It was tush push through, and then 1, 2, 3 is all they were trying to do. And long snappers were just getting destroyed. I mean, just absolutely destroyed. So then there was some rule changes made where they had to go outside, but they were still allowed to loop in. Then there were some rule changes. You're not even allowed to be in the frame of the long snapper. And then I think it got to the point where it was like you're not even allowed to touch the long snapper. They touched them and they pushed, but I don't know if it's if they did it legally with the rule that it currently is, because it has changed numerous times. Because what it used to be to then what it became to what it is now, I'm not 100% sure of all of them. We should have looked into that beforehand, but that's great work by the Green Bay Packers special teams, Rich Bisaccia. And once again, they pushed the enther pile. So
isn't it a ref right behind there?
You can see him.
Yeah, there are 2 of them.
Yeah,
I feel like that push always gets called.
The push is actually the biggest problem. That was like the first thing that was eliminated, let alone
over the long snapper. Like I feel like today in these, as long as you don't line up over them, if you get pushed into that direction, you're normally okay. But the push from like Van Ness, I feel like gets called a ton.
Yeah, hell of a play though. Hey, listen, winners win.
That's right.
Bingo.
He made no bones about it either. Like post game, they asked him about it, and he was like, Carl told me, hey, give me a little push. So I made sure I did. So.
Make him call it.
What's the worst case scenario? You get a penalty? They kick whatever.
It was a great block. 2 weeks in a row. Now you got walk-off field goal blocks, and let's talk about the primetime game, shall we?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we love the head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. We would like to proclaim that. There is no hashtag journalistic standards. Do those exist? Whenever it comes to judging whether or not we like Jim Harbaugh as a whole, we love him. As soon as he becomes the head coach of the Chargers, we immediately think this guy's going to change the culture. This guy's going to flip this team around. And if you follow the Chargers over the last couple of years, not as closely as Chargers fans, obviously, we haven't, but we have somebody on our program, and also we have been a massive fan of Justin Herbert since his days at Oregon. We love this dude. The more we learned about him, the more we liked him. He grew up in his house. His parents would clear out the furniture in the living room, and they would actually tape uprights onto the wall, and they would play pickup football in the middle of the snow in their house, and they would have to kick extra points in their living room. When you're talking about loving ball, Justin Herbert and Herbert family love ball. Great personality, doesn't showcase a lot. Super humble, hardworking, but that Chargers franchise over the last few years for the beginning of his career, kind of crap.
Yeah, he's stunk.
Kind of crap.
Yep.
They would lose the games that they were supposed to win. They'd be in the lead to win games, and they would just give it away. Insert last night. Cincinnati Bengals come to town. Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers would cook early. We're talking dime after dime after dime. We're talking about having the time of your life on Sunday Night Football for a half for the Los Angeles Chargers. They would go into halftime with about a 3-score lead. He'd be throwing things like that. Quentin Johnson, by the way, congratulations to you.
Yep.
People were talking a lot of shit about you.
Yep.
You've become a massive weapon for this Chargers team. And Justin Herbert showcased. And look at this long-ass run. No sell it. Ball back, walk it off, keep it cool.
Next play.
This is who I am. Justin Herbert has been a phenomenal leader for this team. J.K. Dobbins has been a great addition to this team, not only here, but at the very end of the game. Then it would get to the third quarter, and all hell would break loose. A 21-point deficit would basically be eliminated by Joe Burrow and an offense that would show up and crush. All of a sudden, Chargers fans are starting to get PTSD. Oh, no, we're the same old Chargers. Oh, no, this is the Chargers of the past couple years. Oh, no, another primetime game in which we're supposed to win. We should win. We could win, but we're just going to let guys get wide ass open and we're going to lose again. Joe Burrow would lead the Cincinnati Bengals all the way back to a tie, and then what would happen? Well, what I was talking about yesterday morning on NFL Game Day Morning is the Harbaugh effect would be felt for the first time for the Chargers fans. In a game in which they could have given up. In a game in the past in which they would have lost. In a game that Chargers fans would be saying on Monday morning, we suck again. They come back and win this thing. They had to battle through adversity. Ladd McConkey goes for 2 completions for 55 yards on this final drive. And then J.K. Dobbins, when I assume they were just trying to get in field goal position for Cameron Dicker, ends up taking it to the absolute crib. This is Harbaugh being... J.K. Dobbins is so fast, so quick. Get off me. Get off me. This is Harbaugh being the guy that we all thought he was going to be, coming in and cultivating a culture of winning. And although Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals offense has done fantastic, they're out of it. They stink. This year is going to be jotted down as an L for the Cincinnati Bengals team. But for the Chargers, it's the complete opposite.